We will get things started. We are joined here with Rookie of the Year, Will Zalatoris. Thanks for joining us here at the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by Mastercard. Want to just get some opening comments and thoughts about the importance of this tournament and the relation with Arnold Palmer as being Rookie of the Year and an alum from Wake Forest, how special this week is.
Yeah, it's a huge honor. I was actually telling this story this morning that Coach Haas came up to me in a junior event saying that he was going to offer me the AP, which at the time I was in the middle of doing SATs and AP credits for class, and I had no idea what he was talking about. And I was thinking, wow, Coach, I really appreciate that, but I don't know if an academic scholarship is kind of up my alley. He said, no, it's the Arnold Palmer Scholarship, you big dummy. So, I got a letter from him congratulating me on winning the U.S. Junior and obviously accepting a scholarship, and I've got that framed at my parents' house, and it was actually pretty cool. Amy Saunders actually wrote me a letter as well after the Masters last year, which was very cool to see that tradition passed down in the family. So obviously being Rookie of the Year was a massive honor, but being on his scholarship as well at Wake Forest was, as I always tell people, when you get offered the Arnold Palmer Scholarship to go play golf, I think your decision on schools is kind of made for you.
And making your second start here and your debut, had a first 10. How's your game feeling entering the week?
Yeah, it's been feeling pretty good. I would have loved to have come back and played after Torrey, but unfortunately COVID hit me, and I've been feeling really good. Game's in a really good spot, and kind of really the prep for the Masters kind of starts now. Getting ready in terms of hitting some more draws off the tee, and been doing a lot of practice on some big sloping putts, and so it's also nice to be playing a really tough golf course. Really the next 3 events I'm going to play leading up into Augusta are some pretty tough golf courses, and obviously the match play is very hyper competitive, but when you have Sawgrass next week and then obviously here, you can't really fake your way around this golf course.
With that, we'll go ahead and open up to questions for the media. Same as always, if you have a question, raise your hand and we will get a microphone over to you. We'll open up here on the right, Edgar.
Will, playing off what you just said about not being able to fake your way, Arnold Palmer is known for trying to create a severe test for players. What's it like out there? I saw someone hit out of the rough the other day, could barely get it out.
Yeah, the rough is as lush as it's been. The greens tend to brown out by Sunday. The part that's funny about this place is it doesn't look that intimidating in terms of the shots that you hit, but one little mistake or one mishit and you're fighting your way to safe par. And that's something that really, it's one of the fairest tests that we play out on tour, in my opinion, just because great golf shots are always rewarded, but mediocre golf shots, you're going to have to scramble.
And we'll stick on the right, just right there behind.
Will, the tee shot at number 6 is one that invites you to bite off as much as you can stomach. What is your comfort zone on that hole, and then what's kind of the thought process each day when you get there as to how to adjust one way or the other? Yeah,
even with my distance, I still probably aim 40 yards left of those bunkers. If it tends to blow around here, and so I think if we end up getting a day where I get the right wind, I might try to tee one up and maybe cover the far left side of the boomerang. Probably still another 120 yards right of Bryson's line, but I'd just try to keep it in front of me. And it's honestly, the second shot is, in my opinion, is way harder than the tee shot, just because now, especially with the rough growing up around the green on the right side, I landed a 5-iron today that literally landed a foot over the front edge of the green and still rolled to the back edge towards the bunker. And so we know that these greens get firmer and faster as the week goes on, and you just got to miss it in the right spot.
And sticking over here on the right.
Thank you. Lanny Watkins played golf in a different era, but on the other hand, golf is still golf. I'm wondering what you've picked up from him that is still really applicable to how you play golf on tour today.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough. I went to high school with his son Tucker. Tucker's brother Travis and I had played a bunch when he was playing on the nationwide tour at the time. And really listening to his stories through the years of his career, I've really enjoyed picking his brain, especially when it comes to golf courses like Augusta and Riviera especially. He's been a great mentor, and, I actually picked his brain and Lee Trevino's brain since they're both Dallas guys on Augusta leading up to last year, and both of them had incredibly great advice, especially on number 12 of trying to figure out the wind and, seeing where certain trees are blowing, that'll tell you the direction because you can't really feel it off the tee. And so, there's things that I actually do in my game that I actually kind of mimic Trevino to an extent. He actually, when he hits draws, he tends to weaken his right hand, and when he hits fades, he actually weakens his left hand. And his thought on that is that you can be as aggressive as you want of getting the ball to shape. You don't have to feel like you're holding on to something. But Lanny really taught me a lot and really told me a lot of great stories of guys through the years, and especially his Ryder Cup stories most of them are actually pretty hilarious, but they're also, telling me stories of swings and match play. But like I said, I've known him since I was about 9 or 10 years old, and he's been a great mentor and a great sounding board. Yeah, a decent amount. He plays out of 2 courses I play out in Dallas, and so, he's not afraid to tell a few stories. I see him on the range, and he says that he hits 5 balls with each club, and then he goes home and, he tells about 10 or 15 stories to all the members on the range and might give a few lessons here or there. And, it's comedy hour when I see him working on the range with Tony Romo because it's incredible. It gives me a headache watching Tony trying to figure out old school golf, but he's Trevino, the stuff that he does even now, he's 80 plus years old and he still can shape the ball both ways and still get it out there. So he's obviously, you saw him with Tiger and Charlie at the father-son, and that's just who he is.
We'll move over to the center.
Mm-hmm.
Will, it's been 11 months since that magical week at Augusta. How much do you find yourself reflecting on it, and what's the anticipation like to get back there?
Yeah, I'm sure probably every day since driving out of Magnolia Lane, I've thought about it in some fashion, but I'm going to go back and get a few practice rounds in before, go see some of the changes that they made. I'm very excited to get back, but at the same time, everyone starts at even par this year. So, as much as I want to go out and try to do 1 shot better than I did last, or 2 shots better than I did last year, just keep doing what I'm doing and keep learning on that golf course because, the local knowledge of that place, guys having yardage books for 30 years, adding in more and more information, you just got to keep learning.
And secondly, you had a nice week here last year, if I recall. What did that do to kind of fuel you for that runway to Augusta? Yeah,
I was kind of grinding to get in the top 50, and, I needed to, at the start of the year, I got a couple sponsors invites on the West Coast, parlayed a couple top 10s into getting into the next week, and then was able to be top 50 into here. And then that got me into Sawgrass. I was into match play, and after match play, I did just barely enough to stay in the top 50 to get into Augusta. So it really, the difference in that 7 weeks stretch, because I played 7 in a row, starting off the year basically just trying to get my starts wherever I could to all of a sudden basically into any of the tournaments, any of the big tournaments that are out here. Really this first 7 weeks was kind of what got me going for the year.
And we'll move back over to the right.
Yeah, obviously you went to Wake Forest. Arnold Palmer went to Wake Forest. Did you know that when you signed with Wake Forest? And just coming up, what did you know about Mr. Palmer?
Yeah, he's our inspiration in our game. He was the gentleman of our sport. Everyone out here at this tournament this week feels his presence. Every little thing of taking your hat off in the locker room or anywhere in the clubhouse, and I'm sure I'd be getting a nice scolding for this really sorry beard I've got on my face right now, which will be going away before we tee it up. But, the stories that I heard, especially from Coach Haas, and from Lanny, just the epitome of a gentleman and someone who cared deeply about people and obviously loved our game as much as anybody in the world. And obviously, you know, things like Golf Channel. I mean, there's every single day we're out here, there's something that Arnold Palmer did to make this tour better and something that he provided. So unfortunately, I never met him, but I got a letter from him, like I said, when I signed with Wake Forest. And so, you know, the personal connection, even though like I said, I never met him, still means a lot to me.
And over to the center with Brentley.
You're at the point now where you're starting to play a lot of these courses, you know, for the second time. Do you still find yourself learning new things about yourself each tournament? And is there anything specific that maybe you learned about yourself after Farmers that you didn't know entering the week?
Yeah, you know, I thought I had a really good off season. You know, I put on 15 pounds of muscle, added some length to my driver, which was really crucial. And I was really looking forward to getting back to Pebble because in some respects that's kind of a home tournament for me, being born in California, in a place that I'd gone to a bunch growing up. And so I really was looking forward to that week to kind of get some vengeance. And unfortunately, I had to sit on my butt for a week and kind of take humble pie and go back and watch the tournament. And, you know, obviously I knew the mistakes that I made because obviously I was there, but knowing the thought process that I had and being able to kind of look on the outside in was really beneficial. And, you know, each week, I mean, really compared from last year to this year, it's just about getting better every week. And, you know, as much as I'm probably one of the guys out here that you could put me at the top 2 or 3 of, you know, hey, when's he going to win? When's he going to win? But, you know, my job every week is to get better, and I know the wins are going to get in the way. And, you know, I think honestly, if you even want to call the failure, I guess, of not winning Torrey, I think is honestly going to propel me to win more just because I learned so much about myself.
Is it hard not thinking about like when that win's going to come? Because I mean, you saw with Scotty, it took him a couple years, and you know he finally gets it done. But is it hard to tell yourself that you have to do that?
No, I thought last year I really forced myself to play better. This year I've done a much better job of staying patient, just trying to get better. I mean, every week is just trying to get better with my golf game, whether it's any aspect of it. And you know, if I keep doing the day-to-day stuff like I have been and keep asking questions of, you know, how can I get better, I know that, you know, I'll win. You know, the first win will come, and I know that if I keep putting myself in that position, the more comfortable I'll be, and I know that I'll get one soon.
Back over to the right.
Hi, Will. You had mentioned that Trevino would say, like, weaken or strengthen your grip to work the ball. Is there anything else specific that he's helped you with or taught you from your time with him?
Yeah, I mean, those are really the 2 main things that I've picked up from him. It's interesting, especially in I guess I've kind of been out here for 2-ish years and seeing how everyone does their own thing, and they do things, really everyone does things their own way. Like Trevino always talks about hitting the inside of the golf ball to hit a fade. And if you ask anyone else, you're thinking, well, you're supposed to cut across it. And his whole thought on it is trying to stay down through the shot, hitting the inside of the golf ball, and then being able to clear. And so seeing how he did things, and it's the same thing with Lanny, that he would do things his own way. Granted, they're 2 of probably the top 10 ball strikers ever to play this game. And just seeing how they do it and how, you know, frankly, I'm a golf junkie. I mean, on a week off, I'll probably play 5 days a week, and I'll try little things here and there that, you know, I hear guys trying. I mean, it's the same thing that I'm fortunate enough to play with Scotty Scheffler and Jordan Spieth a bunch at home. And, you know, anytime Jordan's inside of 100 yards, I'm watching. You know, I want to see how he does things. And it's the same thing with Scotty. I mean, both of those guys are some of the best players inside of 100 yards. And so for me, I'm always trying to find the next edge, if you will. And I think as long as I keep asking questions, and it'll always help. And Trevino's been the same way. I mean, he's asking questions about my golf game, and I'm like, why are you asking me questions? I'm 25 years old, and you've been around the game a hell of a lot longer than I've been alive. So, like I said, those guys have been great.
And with that, that's all the questions we have. Will, thanks for taking the time to join us, and look forward to following this week.
Thanks.